Hey folks, this is Kevin with the Rutherford County Amateur Radio Emergency Service. Today we're going to look at the weather that's coming up. I just got back from the hardware store, got some bird seed for my birds. They're going to need it for the next few days. As a matter of fact, there's going to be some things that we need to get through this. I'm going to go over some ideas as we go into this. If you have any, please leave them in the comments. I'll share them with other people, and then share this video with anyone who you think might benefit. So first up, let's look at the auxiliary communication stuff for the National Weather Service. And this is for today, December 20th of 2022. All right, so their briefing for today includes temperatures will be very cold coming up, and they're going to start Thursday night. We're looking at basically freezing temperatures until midday Monday, so be prepared for that. Rain on Thursday will change to snow, so that's of concern that the roads could be impacted with this, but we're looking at minor accumulations, if any. You know how that goes. It can change from day to day, so don't expect a really clear picture on this probably until Thursday afternoon when we have a really good idea. But the one thing we're more sure about, and you can check online, like watch Brian Hall, y'all, he's a lot more sure about the cold than he is the snow. And that makes more sense to me anyway. That changes from day to day. So what we're looking at is frigid temperatures expected Thursday night and into Friday. Wind chills of -12 for Nashville. So be prepared and make plans accordingly. We're looking at 84 hours of freezing temperatures coming up. So big difference. It's going to be in the 50s or around 50 on Thursday, and then wham, the bottom falls out of the box. So with that, they have this little these icons on the side here. Limit your time outdoors. That makes sense. Let those faucets drip. Why would be a more appropriate question here, and that's because flowing water does not freeze. So a little bit of a drip will keep that faucet from freezing, especially for those of you who have plumbing in an outside wall. So as an example of that, if your kitchen sink is right there at the window, when you're washing dishes, you're looking out the window, the plumbing underneath that kitchen sink is in the exterior wall. So, it may only have an inch of insulation between that and the outside, and it's going to freeze at a greater rate. Leaving that faucet drip, also leaving that cabinet door open during the night especially can help with that. We don't have that in our current home, so most of our plumbing is to the interior walls. As well, the spigots on the outside of the wall, if they're not frost free, which basically means that it drains a little bit out, like 6 inches of it out, you can buy those foam covers. So you may want to go buy those now at the local hardware store. They're pretty cheap and they're worth getting. Just throw them in a box in the crawl space for the summertime and then pull them back out in the winter. That said as well, remember, bring your pets inside. They're not equipped to deal with these kinds of low temperatures in most cases. I'm talking about household style pets. If you do have livestock and working animals, you still need to prepare them. My nephew up in Kentucky is basically heavily feeding his livestock in the days leading up to this to get them a little bit more nourishment and get them some more calories ahead of time. And then, as always, have a plan with your neighbors, check on each other, make sure you're all in good shape. We're also looking at about 33 hours of wind chills below zero. That's going to be a big difference from what we're experiencing right now. Even though it's chilly, this is going to be bitter, bitter, bitter cold. Expect snow amounts. We're looking at less than an inch for Nashville. That is expected. We don't know what that's going to actually look like until we get a little bit closer. Today's only Tuesday. Here's some of the snowfall amounts, 30 to 40%, with pretty low confidence of a ½ inch plus. 1 inch plus looks like Rutherford County is going to be included in that. And then 2 inches plus we're looking at more on the Cumberland Plateau. Again, that'll change as we move along. So do keep up with the forecast. So let's take a look at the summary. Bitter cold, wind chills, dangerously cold. Prepare for a long duration event with temperatures staying below freezing. So that's sort of the long and the short of it. So what are some things that you can do? I'll scroll back up to one of these that we can look at while I talk. All right, so again, I mentioned the hose bib. Make sure those are drained ahead of time. Keep those crawl space vents closed during this event. You want to keep that cold air out of your crawl space if you have one. Again, the plumbing in the outside wall, you're going to want to let it drip. If you have drapes or curtains or even blankets, you can put them over your windows. We have drapes that go from the floor to the ceiling. And we did that when we moved in. It's a style or fashion kind of thing, but they're really thick. And the benefit of them is that we can close them during extreme weather events. In this case, I will take and pin them up against the frame a little bit, against the trim for the window a little bit, and that helps seal it just a little bit better. And I do that during the worst part of the winter. If you have a garage that's attached to your home, you're going to want to keep that garage door closed. It's kind of amazing walking around the neighborhood. It's cold. You're bundled up. It's freezing outside. And people are leaving their garage doors open all day long. Well, if it's attached to your home, you're letting all that stuff get cold and all that cold air into a block of your home, and it's going to transfer more readily into your home. Again, we mentioned pets, taking care of them ahead of time. Gas up those vehicles. You want a full tank going into this just in case you need it, and you want to get those groceries early. You don't want to have to shop for groceries basically on the Christmas weekend anyway, so buy them early. Now consider as well, we could have a power outage situation, especially with some fairly heavy wind gusts that we're expecting. I think this morning I looked and saw wind gusts could be 33 miles per hour. Again, that's going to change a little bit. So some things to consider. If you have a generator, fire it up now. Things do not work as well when it's cold. So the solenoid on my generator, the two power cables, the two wires that connect it, those connectors got loose in the cold, and they actually basically came detached. So my generator wouldn't start. So I had to go in and figure that out. And I did that ahead of time. So I have it fired up and ready to go. Charge up all your devices now because you're going to need them, and do realize that the Wi-Fi probably will be out, and you may or may not have cell service at all during any event, so plan accordingly. Flashlights, get extra batteries for them. Get used to carrying a small flashlight in your pocket, a AAA or AA style flashlight. That just getting used to that. It has a world of uses, from finding a cat toy underneath the couch to looking in the breaker box when the power actually goes out. If that flashlight's in your pocket and you're just used to carrying it, kind of like a pen light or a pocket knife or whatever, it's just something that's always with you. Remember, if you have gas heat in your home and that's what you're relying on, that's fine, but if it has an electric blower and there's no electricity, the gas heat won't work. Same thing for a fireplace. If it's active electricity, a blower of some type, and it's gas, it won't work either. But that said, if it's just passive gas, it would work. So keep that in mind. You might want a backup power system. We're all electric at our house, so we have to lift some small propane heaters to go with it. I have a good fuel supply of propane with it. As well, I bought carbon monoxide detectors, which I run in the room where we run those, and then I could use blankets or sheets of plastic to close off a room and make a warm room in the house if we had to during a longer term power outage. So we got backups of that. As well, have candles that you're going to use. Again, that's good extra light. And then some people use tea lights with a clay pot over it, and there's some plans online for that, and that's supposed to emanate or basically produce some heat, and that's something to consider as well. If you do have a candle, do realize that candles are flammable. We were just at a friend's house last week, and they had a large candle lit in the bathroom for a few hours, and there's a nice pool of liquid paraffin on top of it. Well, that caught on fire, which caught a washcloth on fire. And then basically some water was poured onto that, and that exploded. So fire went to the ceiling really quickly. Fortunately, it flashed out, and then we got a fire extinguisher and put it out pretty quick. But it was amazing, just a good reminder that it doesn't matter what you're using, you just need to prepare for a fire. So having an extra fire extinguisher in the house, and typically it's going to be an ABC style, which you can get at any big box store out there. If you have a freezer and the power goes out, don't open it, because every time you open it, you're going to let some more heat into it, and it's not going to last as long. And it depends on the weather as to how long that would last. Fortunately, with this event, if the power goes out and you have freezers, especially in the garage, just put them outside, scoot them outside, get them out in that cold air, and they'll stay frozen a lot longer because of it. So that's an idea, but also keeping them closed can help. Now, those are just my ideas. It's just, something that I'm doing for the house. I'm not an expert. You do what you want with this and make your own decisions, do your own research. But that said, if you have any ideas, please leave them in the comments so we can all kind of share our thoughts on this. And then lastly, Share this video with anyone who you think would benefit. Appreciate it. My name is Kevin. Have a good day.